To me, Waterfall has the most fascinating history out of all of the stages in Contra speedrunning. Now I could just show you the fastest route, but instead I'm going to show you the journey that speedrunners have taken in order to find the fastest way to beat this stage. You see, this particular stage has been studied, tasked and ROM-hacked more than any other stage in the entire game. It has been studied by multiple generations of speedrunners, and it has a story to tell. It is within this story that we will be able to answer a very important question. What is the fastest that we can finish Waterfall?
Challenge accepted.
It's generally accepted that the first speedrun of Contra was submitted in 2005. Now what you're watching now is a recreation of what Waterfall would most likely have looked like back then. It's here that we will learn the first few fundamentals that we continue to use to this day. First, this is a vertical stage, which means we want as little horizontal movement as possible. Now jumping side to side is fine, but any running is technically wasting time because the screen is not moving. Second, anytime we jump onto a platform or ledge, we want to land as close to the edge as possible, or in such a way that we won't have to run to make the next jump. And third, we want our time between jumps to be as short as possible. Now the shortest possible gap between jumps is 1 frame. At this time, the fastest possible that you could have finished Waterfall would have been 1 minute and 1.44 seconds, give or take. Now on May 21st, 2017, speedrunner Xenon worked out a new route known as the 2-skip route, so named because it included 2 lead skips. Now keep this speedrunner in mind, by the way, because this route is going to become more significant later on in our story. Now what you're watching here is actually a recreation of the 2-skip route developed by Chambers N. Now the main difference between Xenon route and the Chambers route is that the latter avoids the infamous flame jump, which we'll get to in a minute. See, the question is, what even is a ledge skip? Well, first generation runners like Matt Turk just assumed that Bill's jump height was a constant value. I mean, why wouldn't they? That's exactly how it works on every other stage. It turns out that Bill's jump value on Waterfall stage is actually a variable. Now the developers had to do this to get the stage to scroll smoothly without messing up Bill's jumps. Look, to fully explain this, I'd have to get into programming and assembly code and understanding hexadecimal integers. All you need to know is that Bill's maximum jump height changes with every jump we make. Before Xenon developed this route, ledge skips were considered to be RNG, much like the boss in Jungle. Either you got one or you didn't. Xenon was the first to include ledge skips in his run. With the 2-skip route, the fastest possible time is 59.05 seconds. On the 29th of August 2020, Mars 608 and IKU developed the 4-skip route that you're watching right now. By the way, my apologies if I butchered that second name. But they came up with the route to help current world record holder Angry Lanks lower his time to under 950. Now the first thing I'd like to point out is that the first half of this route is identical to Xelod's 2-skip route. Yes, Xelod had developed the first half of the 4-skip route 3 years before Mars and IKU without even realizing it. Now we have to talk about the flame jump at some point, so we may as well do it now. The flame jump is infamously difficult, so difficult that I made an entire video just on that subject. I'll put a link below if you'd like to see it. In short, it is a very tight jump that we can't really plan for until about a second before we get to it. It's so infamous that 2 runners would start working on a route to avoid the flame jump altogether. Now those 2 runners are Jada Silver and Archie Coffey. This would involve ROM hacking to really break the stage down. But before we get to that, the fastest possible time using the 4-skip route is 57.38 seconds. The route you're watching right now is a recreation of the route uploaded on the 7th of March 2021 by KTP. Now all throughout my research for this video, I just assumed that Jada Silver discovered the 5-skip route first. As it turns out, KTP beats him by 7 months. KTP's route, although technically faster, has a frame-perfect ledge skip right at the end. Jade De Silva's route is much easier, although there is an element of chance. Speaking of which, Jade De Silva actually calculated every single possible lead skip based on ledge height alone. And there are actually 24 theoretical lead skips. Now most are either technically impossible or just not at all viable. In fact, the most you could do in one climb is 13 because a lot of them overlap. Getting 13 lead skips would involve too much backtracking, thus losing more time than you'd be saving from the skips to begin with. He would make one more discovery that would lead to the 5 skip routes being developed. That discovery being that there are actually different kinds of lead skips. The skip that matters to us is the tight skip. Now the tight skip is something we wouldn't fully understand until speedrunner Nayland Waters would begin asking questions. Look, the point is, it was the tight skip that would lead to the discovery of the 5 skip route. On the 3rd of October 2021, just 1 month ago, as of the making of this video, Jade De Silva uploaded a video demonstrating the 5 skip route. What you're watching right now is the fastest possible way to beat Waterfall using that route. Now I personally know of at least 2 top runners who have already started using the 5 skip route. But before I give you the final time, there is one part of the stage we haven't even discussed yet. I spent so much time talking about lead skips and flame jumps and various possible routes that exist that I almost forgot to talk about the boss. Now some runners will kill the left arm first and then start shooting the mouth, ignoring the right arm. But the fastest way, which is used in the world record run, is to kill the right arm first, then the left, and then shoot the mouth. This is done because if you fail to kill the mouth in a single cycle, it takes much longer for it to open up again if you haven't killed both arms. Positioning as well as good button mashing speed are vital for this boss. I'd highly recommend watching Lynx's video on boss kills to get a real good explanation of how to beat this boss. I thought I'd conclude with a side-by-side comparison of all 4 routes discussed in the video. Folks, this is how far we have come in almost 5 years of research. I just think that all of the runners who contributed to this stage deserve to be recognized for all of their hard work. But after all said and done, it is time to share the final time. According to my research and playtesting, the fastest possible time that you can complete Waterfall is 56.25 seconds. Now will someone discover a 6 skip route, or perhaps a 7 skip route, or will someone discover a 5 skip without the flame jump first? Personally, I think all discoveries are inevitable. If not extra lead skips, maybe someone will find a faster way to kill the boss. Only time will tell. I'd like to end this video by thanking Jade De Silva and Jeremy for their help in researching, and also for all of the links they provided, which you can find in the description below. Now they both have Twitch channels, and I'd highly recommend checking them out if you want good quality Contra content. As usual, if you think I've left anything out or if I've got anything wrong, feel free to let me know. Thanks for watching, thanks for all the support, and remember, don't stop shooting.